Hi, friends. Okay, there we go. We've got camera, we've got audio. Let me know where you're watching from. I am broadcasting this stream on many different platforms. So I'd love to hear from you. And I'm checking out your comments too as we go. So if you've got questions or you want to weigh in on something that I'm talking about, by all means, do that. So I titled this broadcast, Walking It Out. How do you walk out of the unknown? Because that's really what's going on today. Lots of scared people. Lots of scared people. Don't know what to do. I mean, when you don't have the outcome maybe that you wanted from the election, you don't have a guarantee, you don't have certainty. It's very hard to navigate from, and your emotions are, they're all over the place. So I wanted to talk about that today, and how to find quality life when you're faced with all these uncertainties. So I'm going to share a little bit about my day so far, because it's been a pretty great day. I spent most of my time at the park this morning, part of a homeschool group. We had our phys ed class, and super grateful for the people that made that happen. They organized it, set it all up, and tons of families came out for it. And a local dad, a pastor here in our community, stepped up and led a phys ed class. And there were kids like from age 2.5 to 16 years old. How cool is that? So they had a blast just exercising, playing soccer, hanging out, playing together. It was awesome. And the parents got to just talk, right? We're a relatively new homeschool community popping up in this community where we call home in Arizona right now. And it's cool because there's so many people that are leaving the system. And I wanted to talk to you about that because I'm unique in the group. I'm Canadian, and my perspective is much different. And I also feel that Canada is a pivotal point on a global scale of paying attention to, not just politically, it's more behind the scenes of what goes on politically. So I tend to share a lot of perspective from there and leaving the system and learning how to think on your own and do it on your own and face fears. And a really important thing to address, I mentioned it yesterday, but I'm going to go into it today, is mom shaming, that term, and what it does, how damaging it is, what it leads to, the control it can have over you, the impact it can have in your home. So I feel it's important to go over that because a mom, a wife, has a super important role that oftentimes gets overlooked, or it can actually almost be used over someone in a making you feel insignificant, especially if that's your starring role. Maybe you're a stay-at-home mom and you've just devoted your life to being a wife, being a mom, raising your family, and your marriage is going off the rails because you feel, what have I done with my life? There's so many women my age that I hear that they feel like their life is just flown by, that their identity is tied to, their role at home, and that role is just insignificant, not important. And that's a form of mom shaming. Somehow their think of what they do has been it ripped away. Like the real importance and identity behind that important job, that foundational job, has changed. Somebody said something, or maybe they watched something, And it got them thinking, wow, what have I amounted to? And it's really dangerous. That's dangerous territory for women, because that leads to oftentimes very unhappy marriage. And before you know it, families broken down, kids are suffering, marriage is suffering, nobody's happy, and home is the last place you want to be. And I really feel that keeping the home unit strong and healthy and intact right now is vital, is super important. So I want to address some of the tactics and the things that are going on, especially now in homes. And I want to unpack that for you. I want to explain to you why that's so dangerous, not only what it leads to, but how it can be weaponized over you, and how there is a political tie to that. Because right now in the United States, I have spoke to so many moms, even today, that are just trying to navigate, right? Like did my guy win? Did he lose? I'm watching the media and I can't sleep and I'm worried. And if this one gets in, what's going to happen? And there's all these uncertainties, and emotions are just here and there and all over the place. And how can you possibly get a sense of normal when you've got one political figurehead that represents this and another one that's polar opposite? Life could go two different drastic ways. How, as a mom and a wife, and your role there, keeping things intact and steady in your home, which way do you look? Which way do you navigate? So that's kind of a little bit of our conversation today behind the scenes. But I feel like that's exactly my best place to navigate from, and to model a way of doing it, and doing it healthily. So I have shut off the media for this election cycle in the USA, because I don't need opinions. It was quite funny, actually, last night, just following the election coverage. I was saying to my husband, because he was, giving me play-by-play of, well, there's this and there's that going on and blah, 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 and it's changing. And I'm like, who told you that? Well, what's their name? Who said that? Where are you getting your numbers from? Well, how do you know? How do you know there's not a margin of error? What is the margin of error? Well, they're giving you an opinion. That's what they think. So he got very frustrated, right? I wasn't playing the game. I was saying, turn it off, because it's just going to keep changing. And they have an agenda that they're going to push. And as long as they can push your buttons because you want a specific or a set narrative, you want to hear it your way, and you're waiting for it, you're hoping for it, you're kind of moldable or impressionable. And that's the sweet spot, okay? Because it means you're predictable with your response. So I say, take the target off your back. Take the target off your back, and don't be so gullible. Don't be so predictable. Don't be so manipulatable. Take the control back and recognize this outcome is already determined. Sorry, hold on here. I can't stop it. I can't. I've got two things going on at once there. Okay. So key thing is, take the target off your back. That's where I was going. If you take that target off your back, don't show your cards. Don't be so programmable with how you respond. You're not going to be further ahead taking spoon feeds from sources that are driven by not honesty and integrity, opposite of that. Especially when there's a history of them being so anti one candidate. And if you notice, I'm not using the names because the names are irregardless. You got to start holding the people that are giving you information accountable. You need to start demanding before you receive it and let it in. You got to start asking, where's source on this? So don't put pretty numbers and pictures in front of my face and tell me that's something. Tell me how you got that. Show me the data. And if that's not attached to what you're taking in, don't take it in. Shut it off. And worry about what you can control, which is the stuff like inside your home. Your home is the command center. It's the control zone. It's where everything and anything is possible. And when you take the reins back of your life in that way, in that small step, your whole outlook on the world will change, including politics and the influence politics has on your world. So for me, I think anybody watching my broadcasts or watching knows, that I am a very proud, strong, conservative woman who values freedom, who values faith, who values family, who values small government, limited government. I think that the Constitution next to the Holy Bible is just a stellar document, a stellar freedom document to follow. And I think that there's nothing like it. And it stood the test of time for a reason. And I don't think that the Constitution is going to fall apart overnight because, say, Donald Trump didn't get elected last night. I think that Donald Trump is a very smart man, and I think he's got top-notch people around him that are prepared for what's happening right now. They're not freaked out. They're not caught off guard like we are. They know what's going on. Because smart people who are able to navigate properly are prepared. So that's what I hope to do for you. I'm not saying I have it all figured out, but I'm saying I'm in a place where I am rising above the chaos and the confusion and the predictability. And up there is where I'm looking, and I'm going there because it's a safer, better place to navigate from, to keep my home, my family life, all those things intact and tip-top shape. Everything in the world is tied to the condition of your home or of yourself, of what's going on inside of you. If it's not healthy and good and at a honest place, everything is impacted. Politics, jobs, friendships, relationships, how you see yourself. It's all so important. It's so important. But we're living in a time, in a culture where it's just, we're so overexposed, we're stretched thin, we're spending less and less time at home. The world is like falling apart. Do you wear a mask? Do you not wear a mask? Do you cancel Christmas? Do you have Christmas? You support this politician? Well, I don't support that politician. So we better fight. We better not be friends. We better not talk to each other. It's just problem after problem after problem after problem, and there's no solutions. But there is solutions. It's making a judgment call, knowing when to shut things off, shut things down, take a different path, take a better path, knowing when to turn, knowing when not to turn. So I encourage you to walk this out, but walk it out wise. Don't be gullible. Don't fall for accepting random information. If you're looking for how to source news, like you're not ready to go completely off the rails and, shut down all of your media intake, fine. Okay, I get it. Take information smarter. So what I say is cut the mainstream media off. Okay, cut mainstream media off. Cut your cable, get rid of it. It's useless. And look at the front door on your home. Your front door represents your space. That's the gateway. So what you allow into your home, you need to look at yourself and say, okay, there's a front door in front of this. I'm not going to just allow anything and everything to be shot at me. I'm going to bulletproof, myself a little bit better. And that goes for information that I will allow I'll be exposed to. So I really control what I allow in, what I take in. Because if you don't, you are going to take some bad or untrue or false information in. And because you're so overexposed, it's hard to know how to process it and how to process it. And you'll find, if you go down the rabbit hole like I have, I've learned that the tactics of warfare are much, much more dangerous than what I ever wanted to find or see or admit. And it's imperative now, as we head into a season of disinformation, which is one of the biggest things being used against the people, that we find a way to navigate in a healthy way, where we have a peace and a calmness about us, that we're not ripped apart emotionally based on something we have been subjected to that was like information given to us. Is this making sense? Are you understanding this? I'd love to hear your feedback. This message is definitely not for everybody, but it is for some of you. Some of you are searching and you're trying to find answers and solutions, and you're trying to form a map. And so this message is really, tailored to a specific group of people. But I'd love to hear some feedback, because I know that this type of conversation, it's hard. It's hard to deliver. It's not the easiest, but it's imperative. It's a timely message, because you will be happier in your home if you limit what you expose yourself to. And it will pay off with your kids and with your spouse if you just say, you know what, I don't have to go on that emotional roller coaster to get, disinformative opinions from people on a TV screen. I don't know their last names. I don't know who they are. I don't know what their political affiliation is. I don't know if they're radicals. I don't know if they're extremists. I don't know what their deal is. I don't know anything about them. Why should I allow them the privilege of just speaking stuff at me that I am supposed to receive as the gospel truth? Why? Why and how did they earn that spot in your life? And it's a valid question. It's a valid question. And why have we not had this discussion before? Why am I saying this and you're just hearing it for the first time? That's solid advice. And you know what? These are the types of things we tell our kids, to help them navigate on the playground of how to make good friends, how to make, be a good judge of character. How did we forget that as the caregivers, the parents? How did we forget, oh yeah, I don't know that person I'm just letting give me random information that I'm carrying inside of me, and it's stressful and all those things. Stress, your body in a state of stress, is a killer. So we've went from being told, the pandemic, wear a mask. If you don't wear a mask, you don't care. You're heartless. You're like, the propaganda is just in overload. Those shame messages are everywhere. So we're already stressed about that. And then now this happens. There's no guarantee. We don't know what's going to happen. When are they going to tell us who the next president is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's never ending. And it's getting to the point of people are, they're full. They've had enough. I get it. I was there. And I could see, because I've said, I am a great decision maker when it comes to information. I see it for what it is. I can spot the scams, the shams, the ulterior motives, the agenda, because I listen closely and I take every word as it means something. And you have to know the way it's delivered is a huge, huge part of this. It's a big part of this. How that's why I think really crappy politicians get elected, because they're great word spinners. They've learned how to memorize and just spew it in a beautiful, eloquent way. And it just falls on us like, wow, that's so slick. You're smart, right? But we don't listen to what they're actually saying. It just sounded good. But if you don't hold the words accountable and really weigh it out, like, was this just a puffball answer? Or did you give me like meat and potatoes in that, what you delivered? And all that comes down to your capacity, how on and focused you are when you're receiving the information. I believe that we are in a time of information warfare, and I think that's on a global scale. It's not just limited to certain places. But I think that all roads, when it comes to information warfare, lead one place, and I think that's Canada. I think Canada has a huge role where we're at now. I think that Canada has been propagated to the rest of the world in such a way that, we kind of look, they've sold us through propaganda as just being good old Canadians who, aren't really involved, don't really have an opinion. We're just happy-go-lucky. We don't know what's going on. We've been positioned like that. And people have watched that around the world and, oh, that's just Canada. Nothing goes on in Canada. But let me tell you, a lot is going on in Canada. And I spend many hours a day telling people, you've got to watch all of the stuff that is not just happening now in Canada, but has been going on for, the last 50 years, to understand what's happening behind the scenes here in the USA, deeper than that, also what's coming. And I hope to bring these conversations, these hard to hear conversations sometimes. I hope it's not hard to hear. I hope that it gives you hope and encouragement, and you can say, there's more like-minded people. It'll be an answer, hopefully, to some questions that you've had. I hope to bring these conversations to you on a more regular basis, to get you thinking, to get you talking, and to get you challenging yourself to ultimately make your home a happy, safe place where you experience an upgraded life and liberty living at its best in your special space. We as a society have forgotten the importance and role that home plays. And having healthy homes is an imperative part in this. And especially in the United States, it's key right now. It's key for those of you that are watching. Some of you are on Periscope right now and you're joining live. You're in Arizona, you're watching this, you're saying, who are you? Why are you broadcasting live? What are you talking about? I'm talking about home, and I'm talking about the importance of home. And my home is it's the home zone. We got friends over, kids playing, and this is where life happens. This is where important information is going to be released, and true and honest information that there's nothing attached to it. I'm speaking to you from my heart, from my personal experiences, and I'm hoping that it will help you, connect with you, and that you'll pick your home first in your marriage and your kids and all that wonderful stuff. Because that's the foundational place. Everything there that happens in the family zone is most important job in the world. So on that note, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. And I will check back soon.